So I had a client that wanted a stainless wall sculpture. After a pretty detailed conversation about the detail about the sculpture, like what did they want, what was the theme, what was the idea, what were they going for, we agreed that I would come up with several designs and I would present those designs to the client, and then we'd go from there. Once I got back to my shop, I realized that this might be a good opportunity to kind of test the waters with AI generated art. So I went onto this website called Magic Studio, and I started inputting the description of what I wanted to see with this particular art project. And then I would just generate a picture. Now, as you can see here, it generates relatively quick, and then periodically I would go through and I would adjust what I was trying to describe to kind of hone in on what it is I wanted to see. Now, obviously AI has its limitations with regards to reality. Sometimes the image that would be generated was really almost impossible. Like you couldn't merge pieces of stainless the way that it was being generated. So I chose several AI generated ideas and I presented them to the client, and after a little discussion we both chose this particular design. And so now that's what I'm going to be working on for this client. It's a kind of a whirlpool, whirlwind, tornado-y kind of active, abstract stainless sculpture. Once I created the frame within the dimensions of what the client needed, I just started laying in pieces. I started by just kind of cutting stainless strips in about 1.5, 2 inch thicknesses, or widths, should I say. I would put them in my metal roller, and then I would put a slight curve in each piece, and then as I start to lay this out, it would start to take shape. Once I was able to create the center portion and then a few spokes of this so-called whirlpool wheel, I was able to start tacking things in places. As this progressed, I would reference the picture, and then I would go back to the actual piece, make adjustments as needed. But then I realized it was really kind of starting to look a little too flat. There wasn't really any active motion. So I decided that I would cut a piece out and try to put a bend into the actual piece, but not just a bend, but put a bend in a curved piece, which is not really easy to do. You're asking metal to bend in two different directions at the same time. So after cutting the piece out, I would score right down the center of the curve, and this would help act as a guide for how I would want to bend this piece. And I was using sheet metal vice grips. You can pick them up at Harbor Freight or Home Depot or wherever. And I would use those to kind of grip the piece and start to slowly bend. Once I got the shape that I was looking for, then I was able to take it out to my anvil and kind of shape it a little bit better, just using some light blows with the hammer, until I was able to actually put the piece onto the sculpture itself. Now, unfortunately, some of the footage that I had taken really wasn't of great quality, so I'm going to replace some of the video footage with some images that I took on my camera so you can kind of see the progress. We're going to jump from the creation to almost the finished product. One of the last things you're going to see here in the video is just me putting the finish on the stainless steel sculpture itself. I'm using a variety of tools. I have a restorer with a paint stripping accessory head on it, which for me seems to do a really cool job of putting almost like a brushed finish into the stainless itself. On the top of the stainless piece, I'm actually using an orbital sander with a, I think it's a 120 grit sandpaper, and it really kind of just gives a, I wouldn't say like a brushed finish, but it's definitely more of a smoother finish. It's not as hard as you would see metal be. Once that finish was in place, I tried some ideas that I was going to pitch to the client about putting some lights inside the sculpture. Now here you can see I tried different colors and whatnot. Eventually the client decided not to use the LED light idea. So the sculpture is going to hang in a nook that's inset into the wall where it actually has lights above it. Personally, I think the LED lights inside the sculpture will kind of give it a little bit more dimension. But after everything was said and done and the sculpture was complete, we went ahead and delivered, went ahead and installed, and this is the finished product. So working with AI kind of has its challenges, but at the same time, it's almost like having a partner in your shop that you can help brainstorm ideas on. I don't have a lot of people in my shop, so when it comes to coming up with designs, I've only got what's in here. So AI has kind of given me somebody or something to bounce ideas off of. So I'm sure I'll use it again, but there was an idea for a giraffe sculpture I'd like to do, and AI is just kind of making it a little bit weird. These are some of the ideas that it pitched up to me. So it's going to take some refinement. But as far as ideas goes, it's kind of cool. I hope this was kind of an interesting video. It was fun to make the sculpture with the AI inspiration, should I say. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't already subscribed, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm currently in Spain right now for at least another month and a half. I've got a few projects I'm working on here, and I'm probably going to do another video before I get out of Spain, before I head back to Arizona and get back to work. I have a large expo coming up in Scottsdale with some water features. So if you happen to be in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, May 15th through the 18th, stop by and say hi. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.